The U.S. District Attorney's Office and TSA teaming up today to announce a new protocol that could affect you when taking your weapon through a TSA checkpoint before flying next time. It's a result of a recent increase in guns being found by TSA officers at security checkpoints at Pittsburgh International Airport.
Today we're announcing that in incidents where an individual is caught at the checkpoint with a firearm in their packed bag, we will be notifying the sheriff in the county in which they reside and asking that sheriff to revoke their concealed carry permit.
The increase causing safety concerns and a major inconvenience for flyers. Since January 1st, 27 firearms have been found at the TSA checkpoint.
Unfortunately, it looks like we are on track in 2021 to have a record-breaking year in terms of the number of firearms which are discovered at the TSA checkpoint. That is not the kind of record that we want to set.
The new protocol will be in effect immediately for all travelers due to the recent spike.
So the weapons at the checkpoint have always been an issue for airports across the country. But this year in Pittsburgh alone, you heard the number of 27 here at the airport is going to set a new record for Pittsburgh and the amount of weapons coming through the checkpoint.
Over the last 3 years, the number of firearms found at both Pittsburgh International and airports around the country has remained high. In addition to this year's data, in 2020 there were 21 firearms found, and in 2019, 35. Also in 2020, 3,257 firearms were found at TSA checkpoints around the country. If you want to travel with a firearm, you can still do so, but there is a specific process to do it safely. First, you must place the unloaded firearm into a hard shell case. If you have ammunition, you must pack it in the casing as well. But it cannot be loaded into the firearm. It must remain in its original packaging. Both the gun and ammunition must be placed into the hard case. Then, the case must be locked with a combination or key lock. Finally, a few brief forms must be completed with the airline, which TSA says will take passengers less than a minute.
So, our message to the flying public is this: check your bags 5 times if you have to, but do not bring firearms in your bag to the TSA security checkpoint.
If you have any questions about how to properly pack that firearm before your next flight, visit tsa.gov for complete guidelines. Reporting at the Pittsburgh International Airport, I'm Cleland for News 9. Marshall Tempest works and lives in Pittsburgh now, but holds strong roots in Steubenville. Those roots will help support him next week when he goes to compete in the hand cycling division of the Boston Marathon. Marshall Lee Tempest is a 1992 graduate of Edison High School, and at age 18, his world stopped temporarily.
When I was 18, I was in a car accident here locally, and I'd overturned my car and I dislocated my T12 vertebra, which has caused me to have a spinal cord injury from the waist down. I use a wheelchair as my mobility device, and been doing that for almost 30 years now.
Tempest grew up playing sports involved in the Steubenville community. Since his accident, he's been provided with new opportunities and challenges. Nowadays, he's involved in spinal cord research at UPMC and says his injury inspired his career choice.
When I first got injured and was in rehab, I met a few people who introduced me to wheelchair basketball, and as doing that with them, I traveled with them. I learned how to drive, seeing how they did it, learned how they traveled, how they went in the hotel rooms and handled those situations, and that just motivated me more and more as I was around those who are similar to me.
Following the wheelchair basketball travels, Tempest began hand cycling. He now competes with the Pittsburgh Steelwheelers. Individually, Tempest is on a mission to complete different marathons around the U.S.
I participate in a lot of them. I've done Philly, I've done Detroit, I've done New York. I do Pittsburgh every year just because it's a group of us from the area who, have a lot of camaraderie together, and we love doing that together. Doesn't matter what place you come in, it's just nice to do it as a group. And I got into it about 10 years ago from another friend of mine who was doing it, and I fell in love with it right away. I just love doing the challenge of it, the excitement of it, the marathons, the people along the side. It just motivates you. So they're inspirational through it. It makes you push harder.
While Tempest says supporters are inspirational, others would argue he is an inspiration himself.
You can do it too. I don't think that there's never been anything limiting me except myself. You know, I've wanted to do these things in life of get an education, be involved in sports again, and I found the ways to do it. Life is short and accept the challenges, you know, and that's what I was taught from my family and what I learned growing up in this community.
Tempest says this will be his first time visiting Boston. Monday's race will include around 60 participants, one of the largest in the country. Reporting in the News 9 studio, I'm Dylan Cleland for News 9.
The News 9's Dylan Cleland went searching for answers to this problem 5 years in the making.
Residents along Cleland Avenue in Steubenville say they've been dealing with this water issue for at least 5 years, flowing down the street. And now it's starting to tear apart their sidewalk and part of their road. Flowing freely out of one main drain, clean chlorinated city water pours down the 2400 block of Cleland Avenue.
It's just getting predominantly worse. At wintertime, we've got ice glaciers going down the street. It's getting out of hand. There's thousands of dollars going down the tubes. I mean, our taxpayer money down the tubes.
Neighbors on the other side of the street are also concerned.
The price of our water is going up. It's not going through our meter, you know, but still, why should we pay more money for water and they've got it just running down the street?
We reached out to City of Steubenville Water Department Superintendent James Jenkins and received this statement, quote, "I am aware of the water issue on Cleveland Avenue and it is being investigated into the source of the water and what is causing it to surface. We are looking into private service lines to the house and city main lines that could be the cause," end quote. City Manager Jim Mavromatis added, while they're continuing to investigate, it appears likely that the leak is a landlord's responsibility on a rental property.
Notice has been sent to the homeowner, not the renter, the homeowner, and advising him that you need to correct this problem. We have to give him ample time to do that. If that is not complied with, then we'll go in and either replace it or shut it off.
Steubenville has been slowly cutting its water losses by repairing leaks and valves in the system. Since 2018, the city has reduced the loss from more than 60%. The main problem is clean, chlorinated water.
Right.
So that's just money and water going down.
That's one of our biggest issues on our water loss throughout this city, is broken lines in cities or lines that have been crimped where they should have been actually shut off at the main core.
What would you say to taxpayers that have been dealing with in the winter the ice buildup or just the
If this is clearly the cause of it, it needs to be corrected, before winter sets in, without question. But it still goes back to the homeowner of the property.
As the water continues to flow down Cleveland Avenue, go to our website, WTOV9.com, for the very latest on this story. Reporting in Jefferson County,